Queen Elizabeth II is laid to rest.
Thousands of people line the street to say a final goodbye to their late monarch. Inside Westminster Hall, dozens of world dignitaries.
Isabel Rosales is live in London.
Shortly after the September 11th attacks, the Queen famously wrote, "Grief is the price we pay for love." And based on all this grief we're seeing from her subjects, she was indeed very much loved. Her burial today brings to a close a 10-day period of national mourning. A somber day for the United Kingdom as the world says goodbye to a queen whose reign spanned more than 7 decades, the longest reigning monarch in British history.
The grief of this day, felt not only by the late Queen's family, but all round the nation, the Commonwealth and the world, arises from her abundant life and loving service, now gone from us.
Westminster Abbey's tenor bell chiming once a minute for 96 minutes, marking each year of Queen Elizabeth II's life. Roughly 2,000 people attended, including world leaders like President Joe Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, and members of the royal family. Following the service, thousands of people lined the streets of London as the Queen's coffin passed Buckingham Palace for the final time.
We adore her, and that's why we are here, because we are part of the Commonwealth.
The crowds cheering as her coffin left London. The Queen laid to rest in Windsor Castle, near her husband of 73 years, Prince Philip. Every single part of her funeral was symbolic, down to the very flowers in her wreath. Rosemary for remembrance, myrtle for a happy marriage, and English oak, symbolic of the strength of love. Live in London, I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
We're learning more about the island-wide efforts to rescue a Big Island teen who was allegedly abducted on Friday. Now, the girl was found on Saturday after Good Samaritans helped her. Jolani Martinez has more.
Police say this will be a long-term investigation, but say coordination with 15-year-old Michaela Dabina's family was a crucial part in their search efforts. Loved ones say Dabina is in good spirits and is excited to be reunited with her family.
We hugged, and she went on to hug the next family member. My fiance Carly made a comment saying that she didn't think she was ever going to get to do that again. So to be able to do that again was a miracle, definitely a blessing.
Paige Groff is her cousin. He was one of the dozens of people Saturday looking for her at Anai Ho'omalu Bay. Groff was in the air.
Anai Ho'omalu, all the way to Kiholo Bay, is nothing but lava fields, lava tubes everywhere, brush, very thick brush. So it was very challenging to look in specific areas, but it definitely helped being able to cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time.
Groff works for Paradise Helicopters, the same company that flew Dabina's family from Kona to Hilo. Police made sure they had crews in the air, land, and sea, with help from HFD, Blue Hawaiian Helicopters, and the public.
This is one of the few times I've been able to participate and see this type of outpour.
She was found in Hilo. We got a call from a friend of ours.
Shortly before noon Saturday, Dabina was found safe at Cafe Pesto Hilo Bay by 2 Good Samaritans.
That's incredible. That's people standing up and doing the right thing versus turning a blind eye.
Then they started tussling, and I was like, wait, what's happening? And it just wasn't connecting. And then I realized it was her.
When I looked at her, it looked like a man and a woman fighting, but she was wearing men's clothing, and I thought, that's strange. She doesn't look like she's wearing her own clothes. And I just asked her if she was okay, and she was crying. She said yes, and I said, is there anything I can do to help? And she said, I want to call my mom. And so I was just really happy that I could be the one to put her and connect her with her mom.
A few hours later, police arrested 52-year-old Duncan Kealoha Mahi in Hilo.
Information was from the community, from information from our victim, helping to provide some leads for the officers to follow up on.
And that really was a team effort with the community, our first responders, and everybody. I'm really proud of the work that everybody did.
I feel so lucky and blessed. I have the whole community here supporting us and my daughter, and I'm so blessed that I'm getting her back.
Hawaii police say the investigation is ongoing and are working closely with prosecutors to determine Mahi's charges. Jolani Martinez, Hawaii News Now.
Even more new images to show you now. Philippines President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in New York for a working visit to the United States. Marcos, who took his oath of office in June, is set to participate in the United Nations General Assembly. Marcos will also be holding bilateral meetings with other world leaders. Marcos' visit, while a landmark trip in itself, draws some extra attention because of an existing contempt judgment in the U.S. against him and his mother over a human rights class suit filed against his father, the late Ferdinand Marcos Sr. But as head of state, Marcos Jr. will be granted diplomatic immunity. Well, yesterday on 60 Minutes, President Biden sat down for a new interview, and it's making headlines on a number of fronts, including the president saying the COVID pandemic is over. Skylar Henry brings us the update.
President Biden appeared to change U.S. foreign policy towards Taiwan during an interview with Scott Pelley on 60 Minutes. The official policy is that the U.S. recognizes Taiwan as a part of China, but remains silent on whether the U.S. military would defend the democratic government there.
There's a one China policy, and Taiwan makes their own judgments about their independence. We are not moving, we're not encouraging their being independent. That's their decision.
But would U.S. forces defend the island?
Yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack.
The White House later said the official policy remains the same, but China's foreign ministry spokesperson denounced the interview, saying the Chinese side expresses strong dissatisfaction and firm opposition and has lodged stern representations with the U.S. side. China has conducted military exercises in the Strait of Taiwan throughout the summer. The wide-ranging interview also delved into a number of issues the president is dealing with at home.
It's the highest inflation rate, Mr. President, in 40 years.
I got that, but guess what we are? We're in a position where for the last several months it hasn't spiked. It is just barely, it's been basically even.
Former President Trump slammed the president's economic policies during a rally in Ohio this weekend.
We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has the highest inflation in 50 years, and where the stock market finished the worst first half of the year since 1872.
While a rematch between Trump and Biden remains a strong possibility, the president refused to say if he would run again in 2024. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
In this important update to pass along, a powerful earthquake has struck Mexico, but there's no tsunami threat for Hawaii, according to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. The 7.6 magnitude quake shook Mexico's Pacific coast around 8:05 Hawaii time this morning. Now, tsunami waves were observed closer to the epicenter, but the warning center says a destructive Pacific-wide tsunami was not expected, and there again is no threat to the state. A massive 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck Taiwan on Sunday, causing some serious damage. The quake hit a sparsely populated part of southeastern Taiwan, killing one person, derailing train cars, and damaging buildings. It also destroyed this long bridge. You can see much of the structure was toppled on Sunday when the earthquake struck.
Meanwhile, Hurricane Fiona has moved on to the Dominican Republic after leaving more than 1 million people in Puerto Rico without power. It could take several days to restore electricity on the island. Christian Benavides reports from Miami.
Fiona's floodwaters are wreaking havoc in Puerto Rico, and the damage isn't done yet.
We're seeing catastrophic flooding across the island, totals exceeding 26 inches at this point on the southern portion.
More rain is in the forecast and flash flood warnings are in effect. Earlier, the National Weather Service tweeted a warning to residents: move to higher ground immediately. Puerto Rico's governor says they're seeing unprecedented amounts of water. In some cases, more than during Hurricane Maria in 2017. The electrical grid was decimated in that storm, and Fiona knocked out power again. Officials warn it's going to be days before most of the island is restored. FEMA put hundreds of boots on the ground before Fiona hit, and the agency says it's better prepared this time around.
We have 10 times the meals and water. We also have 3 times the generator support that we had prior to Hurricane Maria.
Residents in the Dominican Republic are picking up the pieces of torn roofs and toppled homes. Fiona made landfall around 3:30 a.m. with winds as strong as 85 miles per hour. There were some people here when it fell, this man says, but no loss of life. Beaches in the popular vacation destination of Punta Cana are off limits. Hotels closed their pools and moved guests further inland. Forecasters expect the storm to head to Turks and Caicos and possibly ramp up to a major hurricane when it passes Bermuda later this week. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
In Japan, 9 million people have been told to evacuate because of a super typhoon. It's considered to be equivalent to a Category 4 or 5 hurricane, and the storm is already being blamed for at least 2 deaths. It lashed the island of Kyushu, cutting power to some 300,000 people over the weekend, and now it's tracking toward Tokyo. This is the 14th typhoon Japan has experienced this year. How low can they go? An airfare war is underway between Hawaii's top inter-island carriers. First, Southwest made the move with $78 round trips. Then Hawaiian Airlines followed, cutting its usual fares in half. Ben Gutierrez tells us why this sounds so familiar.
The lower airfares are having their intended effect, at least according to people we spoke to here at the airport. They say they considered flying inter-island because of the cheap price. The latest fare war was triggered by Southwest Airlines, which entered the Hawaii market in 2019 with one-way fares as low as $39. With Hawaiian Air matching, travelers were quick to take the opportunity.
I had been watching the inter-island fares, and I knew kind of what we would spend, and then I saw the news about Southwest, and then I saw the $39 sale. So I jumped on it.
Wow, that's a good deal. You know, we should have that all the time. So that's good, they're fighting with each other. While recent media reports say Southwest is bleeding money in the inter-island market, the Dallas-based carrier has announced plans to add even more flights between the islands. And it reported record revenue for the second quarter of the year.
It really is a game of chicken. And both airlines, Hawaiian and Southwest, are using the rest of their systems to subsidize this fare war that's going on because nobody makes money at these $39 fares.
Foreman says it's hard to speculate how long Southwest will stay as an inter-island airline, but right now he thinks it's going to try to force a competitive advantage against Hawaiian. It brings back memories of Go Airlines, which started a fare war that resulted in the 2008 shutdown of Aloha Airlines after 62 years of service. Go was on a mission to get rid of Aloha, so that was not nice.
People watched what happened with the Go situation, and that gives Hawaiian a bit of an advantage because a lot of people in Hawaii don't like a big mainland or even a small mainland company coming in and bumping out one of their local companies.
But for now, Southwest and Hawaiian will duke it out.
It's a nice little bonus for right now. I know it's not going to last though, so we'll just take advantage as we can.
Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
All right, now is the time to book those tickets.
Oh, yeah, I remember that Go airfare war. That was crazy.
Some good deals out there to be had, so book ahead. All right, guys, speaking of airlines and airports, look, there's the Reef runway out there in the distance, a few clouds over top of it, but looking like a beautiful day. Guys, got to look ahead at your work week. Here he is.
And starting tomorrow, even though we have a trade wind breeze, there'll be noticeably weaker variable winds take over on Thursday going into the weekend. We might even get some Kona winds, looks like over the weekend as well. So your 7-day forecast is looking pretty good. Rainfall is still minimal. We could use more rain, right? So breezy winds today, light trade winds today and tomorrow, to some extent Thursday. And then between Thursday and Friday, we lose those trade winds, variable winds take over. It's going to be quite sticky for the end of the week. We could even see some spotty downpours on Friday and Saturday.
Now a look at an underwater experiment that could help protect our shores. Here's Carrie Sanders with that story.
We've joined researchers headed just 3 miles off the coast of Miami to see if a grand experiment worked. Can scientists bring a natural wonder back to life?
We hope, fingers crossed, that you are going to see one of the most, one of the wonders of nature.
And it can only be seen at night during a full moon. As the sun goes down, it could well be a magic moment because we have a full moon. The full moon this night is critical because it sends bright light into the 85-degree seawater. As the moon rays go deeper, the light spectrum is filtered. Red disappears, but blue light penetrates. And at 20 feet down, that blue light signals to these corals that it's time to spawn. 2 years ago, the Pentagon gave researchers at the University of Miami a $7.5 million contract to artificially grow coral that's engineered to resist death due to global climate change's warming waters. Then transplant that coral to the ocean floor. With the hope, in this darkness, those corals will now spawn.
Why would the Defense Department be spending money on this?
Well, the Defense Department realizes that corals are tremendously valuable in protecting our coastlines.
So it's a defense project, just not in the concept of how we think of defense.
That's right. In fact, it's reef defense.
Coral reefs are a shoreline defense, absorbing 97% of wave energy, especially important during hurricanes.
We're really vulnerable to hurricanes, to storm surge, erosion, flooding, and corals have that incredible three-dimensional structure that help them to break wave energy as the waves come towards the land.
All of this was theory until it happened. Those millions of what appear to be bubbles are the corals spawning.
It's very romantic.
A romance that began in a lab, now left to nature, doing what nature does best. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, off the coast of Miami.
All right, let's see what else the internet is talking about, and it's really all about the Queen still today. A lot of people talking about that. And one thing, as we say goodbye to the Queen, the palace released this new image of her smiling. Yeah, this is a brand new image they released yesterday on the eve of the state funeral. You can see her there looking very joyous.
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth II. This was taken ahead of her Platinum Jubilee. If you don't remember that, that was to celebrate her 70 years on the throne, the longest reigning British monarch of all time. Let's move along to some other new video. These little guys were there to welcome the Queen's coffin there back to Windsor Castle. Those are her beloved corgis. She had a number of them throughout the years. This is Sandy and Mick. They were brought in alongside, again, to greet the coffin there at Windsor Castle. There's not a shot of it, but also her beloved pony was also brought out to show respect as well, because she certainly had a real love for animals, especially those little dogs.
Right, and King Charles reportedly likes Jack Russells. Is that right?
Yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah, and I think her other son is taking care of the corgis, taking over the adoption of them.
Oh, staying on theme with the Queen, a well-known local designer. He's in London honoring the Queen in the tradition of Hawaiian royalty. Check it out.
I'm from the House of and it felt only befitting to dress in our traditional attire and pay respect to the Queen of England, since so many of my family members had relationships with the British family.
Now that's Micah Kamoho'ali'i, and local models, they are in the United Kingdom for London Fashion Week, and of course paying tribute to the Queen there in their local dress.
All right, moving on to good news now. There is so much coming to KGMB and KHNL this week. We got the new season of Survivor coming out, and now Magnum PI just launched their next season of production with filming. They had a Hawaiian blessing this morning. That's where our Billy V was. Let's toss it over to him.
Hello to Kahu Cordell Kikoa, who is also just out of screen here. Brother's going to come in because he loves being on camera anytime he gets the chance. Good to have you on, Kahu. Kahu, what was the main message this morning to everybody?
Resurrection, new beginnings, and we're all in this together.
Okay. And where did your water come from that you put into everybody's palm?
This is from Kawehewehe Springs, right off of Halekulani Hotel.
Okay. Got it.
We're excited.
Okay. Let's talk story here. Zachary Knighton over here, Stephen Hill over here next to me. Guys, how did it feel? Tell me the description of what you felt when you heard that we're back in the role.
Wow. Well, he and I were the ones who were talking first and foremost because we were talking during the whole cancellation, and we were both just obviously thrilled. We're happy to be here and happy to be able to stay in this beautiful place.
Relief. Relief. Love. And just happy just to be here and make sure everybody else has jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, let's talk about your lives for a little bit because both of you live here. You've got family, your family that's here. You love to go out into the water and surfing. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I'm not going to tell you where I like to surf, but yeah, you know, we're part of this community. We love this community. We live here. We're raising our family here, and we were going to stay even if the show wasn't coming back. So this is just a bonus for us. We're just thrilled beyond belief. And so many of my friends got to keep their jobs, and we get to see you again, Billy.
Thank you.
So we're happy.
Well, I sleep on couches whenever I'm not on the mainland, so you know I like to stay here as much as I possibly can.
All right. So, have you heard about anything about the new season? Have you seen any of what the writers are doing?
We've read the first 3 episodes. Everything's looking really good. Hopefully, my wife will be making some more appearances, and I know me and this guy are going to have a lot of fun together.
Yeah, and I think possibly love interest might be coming back.
Woohoo! We've been talking about them for a couple of seasons now.
Yeah, we have. So,
okay.
You know, it's time for TC to become a full man on the
show. We got 20 seconds. Final message for Magnum PI fans.
Thank you to everybody who was fans, who supported us and helped us come back. We're so moved by the love from the fans, and thank you, everybody. And thank you to the people of Hawaii for letting us stay here and shoot here. Thank you so much for all the love.
Yes, you guys put up a billboard for us. We will never forget that. Thank you very much, fans.
All right, once again, Stephen Hill, Zachary Knighton, Magnum PI. They start filming today. It begins, and we're looking forward to January 2023 when we can see the first episode.
Billy V in his element there,
for sure.
Yeah. Having fun with the stars. Again, I was mentioning Survivor starts on the 21st. We're going to do another interview with an Oahu resident that is on the cast. We talked to one last week. This week, we're going to talk to Gio. We're going to do an interview and probably air it on Wednesday.
Very cool.
Yeah. Time for what? One more story?
Yes, so for the first time, Forbes has ranked the top 50 most powerful influencers on the internet, and 2 Hawaii names are on that list. So a big congratulations to Bretman Rock. He took the 27th spot on the list with 41.6 million total followers. That's outrageous. Get this though, Oahu resident Ryan Kaji took the 23rd spot with 33.2 million total subscribers, but the top spot went to Jimmy Donaldson, aka Mr. Beast, known for stunts like being buried alive. Get this, he brought in $54 million last year as an influencer.
I am so out of touch. All I know is Bretman. We've interviewed him before here on This Is Now. Great personality, and really enjoyed our conversation we had. That's going to do it for This Is Now, y'all. Ashley is back first at 4. I know I said y'all. I heard it.
It came out.
Yeah, it came out. A little Illinois in me. Ashley's back first at 4 on KHNL. You don't want to miss it. A lot of news still developing here at Hawaii News Now. Keep checking those H&N digital platforms. Aloha.
See ya.